Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today my lecture is on multiple myeloma. For proper understanding of multiple myeloma, first it is mandatory to understand what is plasma cell neoplasm. Plasma cell neoplasms are the B cell proliferations which contain neoplastic plasma cells that virtually always secrete a monoclonal immunoglobulin or immunoglobulin factor fragment, which serve as a tumor marker and often have a pathological consequences. Collectively, the plasma cell neoplasm, often referred to as dyskaryosis, they account for 15% of deaths caused by lymphoid neoplasm. The most common and deadly of these neoplasm is multiple myeloma, of which there are about 15,000 new cases per year in United States. The plasma cell, it is a B cell, so therefore they are categorized into lymphoid neoplasms. A monoclonal immunoglobulin identified in the blood is referred to as an M component in reference to myeloma. Because complete M component they have molecular weight of 160,000 or higher, they are restricted to the plasma and extracellular fluid and excluded from the urine in the absence of glomerular damage. However, neoplastic plasma cells often synthesize excess light chains along with the complete immunoglobulins. Occasionally, only light chains are produced, and our rare tumors secrete only heavy chains. So, any form of immunoglobulin they can be observed in plasma cell neoplasm. They can be heavy chain, light chain, or a complete immunoglobulin, which is called M component. And rare cases also exhibit there is no expression of immunoglobulins, and they are known as non-secretory myeloma. In patients with plasma cell tumor, the level of free light chain is usually elevated and is markedly skewed towards one light chain, for example kappa, at the expense of second, the lambda. There are two light chain, one is kappa and one is lambda. But in multiple myeloma, it is kind of a universal finding that only one light chain will be markedly elevated and the second will be depressed. They can one chain which is whose expression is increased, it can either be kappa or lambda. Because the free light chains they are small in size, they are also excreted in the urine, where they are referred to as Bence-Jones proteins. Terms used to describe the abnormal immunoglobulin associated with plasma cell neoplasm include monoclonal gammopathy, dysproteinemia, and paraproteinemia. These abnormal proteins are associated with the following clinicopathological entities. The most important is multiple myeloma, also known as plasma cell myeloma, solitary myeloma, which usually present in skin and the soft tissues, smoldering myeloma, in which there is a high concentration of M protein in the body, M component in the body, and a patient is asymptomatic. Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia, in which the clinical picture is because of the hyperviscosity in the blood, and this hyperviscosity is due to the excessive expression of IgM. Heavy chain disease, primary or immunocyte associated amyloidosis, monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance. And now, with this background, we will proceed further with the explanation of multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma, also known as plasma cell myeloma, it is the most important plasma cell neoplasm, usually present as tumorous mass scattered throughout the skeletal system. It is commonly associated with the lytic bone lesions, hypercalcemia, renal failure, and acquired immune abnormalities. Although bony diseases dominate, it can spread late in its course to lymph nodes and extranodal sites. Epidemiology. Multiple myeloma, it causes 1% of all cancer deaths in Western countries, and its incidence is higher in men and people of African descent. It is chiefly a disease of older adults with a peak age of incidence of 65 to 70 years. Pathogenesis. Multiple myeloma, it is associated with the frequent rearrangements involving IgH locus and various proto-oncogenes. Along with the IgH locus, other translocations which are involved in the pathogenesis are the cell cycle regulatory genes cyclin D1 and cyclin D3, which are present on chromosome number 11q13 and 6p21 respectively. Deletions of chromosome 17p that involves TP53 tumor suppressor locus also occur, and they are associated with the poor outcome. Late stage highly aggressive forms of the disease such as plasma cell leukemia, they are associated with the acquisition of rearrangements involving MYC. More recent deep sequencing of myeloma genomes has identified frequent mutations involving components of NFK beta pathway, which supports B cell survival. Based on these studies, it is evident that myeloma molecularly heterogeneous. So in this pathogenesis, four gene locus they have been involved. One is IgH locus, cyclin D1, cyclin D3, and chromosome 17p and MYC. And another one is NFK beta. The proliferation and survival of myeloma cells, they are dependent on several cytokines, most notably interleukin 6. Interleukin 6, it is an important growth factor for plasma cells. It is produced by tumor cells themselves and by resident merostomal cells. So the high level of interleukin 6, they will be observed in patient with active disease, and when they are observed, it is associated with a poor prognosis. Myeloma cell growth and survival are also augmented by direct physical interactions with bone marrow stromal cells, which is a focus of new therapeutic approaches. And now we will see the pathogenesis of bone destruction and pathological fractures. Of particular importance are the myeloma derived MIP1 alpha, which upregulates the expression of the receptor activator of NFK beta ligand, which is rank L, by bone marrow stromal cells. This rank L will activate the osteoclast, and it will lead to the pathological fractures. Other factors released from the tumor cells, such as modulators of WNT pathway, are potent inhibitor of osteoclast function. The net osteoblast function. The net effect is a marked increase in the bone resorption, which leads to hypercalcemia and pathological fractures. So the osteoclast, they will be activated, and osteoblast, they will be suppressed. These two factors, they will lead to increased bone resorption and ultimately their fracture. Clinical feature. And the clinical features which we see in multiple myeloma, they usually result from the effects of plasma cell growth in tissues, particularly the bones, the production of excessive immunoglobulins, which often have abnormal physiochemical properties such as hyperviscosity, and the suppression of normal humoral immunity leading to infections. Bone resorption often leads to pathological fractures and chronic pain. The attendant hypercalcemia can give rise to neurological manifestations such as confusion, weakness, lethargy, constipation, and polyuria, and contribute to renal dysfunction. Decreased production of immunoglobulin will lead to recurrent bacterial infections. And one very important finding is renal insufficiency, which can lead to death. The pathogenesis of renal failure, which occur in up to 50% of the patient, is multifactorial. However, the single most important factor seems to be Bence-Jones protein urea, as these light chains, they are toxic to renal tubular epithelial cells. Certain light chains, particularly those of lambda 6 and lambda 3 families, they are prone to cause amyloidosis of AL type, which can exacerbate renal dysfunction and deposit in other tissues as well. Multiple myeloma usually present as destructive plasma cell tumor, which involves the axial skeleton. The bones most commonly affected in descending order of frequency are vertebral column, ribs, skull, pelvis, femur, clavicle, and scapula. So most commonly, our vertebral column, they are very much prone to the fractures. Lesions begin in the medullary cavity, erode cancellous bone, and progressively destroy the bony cortex, often leading to pathologic fracture. These are most common in the vertebral column but may occur in any affected bone. Diagnosis. For the establishment of diagnosis, the both the radiographic and laboratory findings, they are carried out. First of all, we will see the laboratory findings, which involve the peripheral blood and bone marrow and serum manifestations. The marrow involvement often give rise to normocytic normochromic anemia, sometimes accompanied by moderate leukopenia and thrombocytopenia. These findings, they are seen because of the infiltration of normal marrow by plasma cells. Commonly, a high level of M protein causes red blood cell in peripheral blood smear to stick to one another in a linear array, a finding referred to as Role formation. Role formation, it is characteristic but not specific, as it may be seen in any other conditions in which Ig level they are elevated, such as lupus erythematosus and early HIV infection. In the initial stages of disease, the plasma cells, they are only localized to the bone marrow or other tissues, but when the disease it spreads, the tumor cell, they will flood into the peripheral blood and it will give rise to plasma cell leukemia. Bence-Jones proteins are excreted in the kidneys and contribute to the form of renal disease called myeloma kidney. The patient may present with the symptoms of disturbed urination, this picture is a peripheral blood which shows a Role formation in which red blood cells, they are pile on one another, giving to a linear array. This is a Role formation. In 99% of the patient laboratory analysis, they reveal increased level of immunoglobulins in the blood and light chain in the urine. The monoclonal immunoglobulins, they are usually first detected as abnormal proteins in serum or urine electrophoresis, and then they are further characterized by immunofixation. Most myeloma, they are associated with more than 3 grams per deciliter of serum immunoglobulins and or more than 6 milligram per deciliter of urine Bence-Jones proteins. The most common monoclonal immunoglobulin M protein is IgG, which is approximately present in 55% of the patients, followed by IgA approximately 25% of the cases. Myeloma expressing IgM, IgD or IgE occur, but they are rare. Excessive production and aggregation of M protein, usually of IgA and or IgG3 subtypes, they lead to symptoms related to hyperviscosity in about 7% of the patient. One point I want to clarify is that the M protein and IgM, they are different. M protein is any monoclonal immunoglobulins which will accumulate in multiple myeloma. It can be IgG, IgE, IgT, any of the five forms. While IgM, it is a separate entity which represent immunoglobulin M. Both free light chain and serum M proteins are observed together in 60 to 70% of the patients. However, in about 20% of the patient, only free light chains they are present. Around 1% of myeloma they are non-secretory, hence the absence of detectable M protein does not completely exclude the diagnosis. So if you are having a suspicion of multiple myeloma and you will go for the serum analysis and it does not show any M protein, it does not exclude the disease. For establishment of your diagnosis, you will one by one will advise these investigation to the patient along with his history and clinical examination. Morphology. Even away from the overt tumor masses, the marrow contain an increased number of plasma cells, which usually constitute more than 30% of the cellularity. For the diagnosis of multiple myeloma, greater than or more than 30% of plasma cells they should be present in the bone marrow. The plasma cells they may infiltrate the interstitium or be present in the sheets that completely replace normal elements. Like their benign counterparts, malignant plasma cells have a perinuclear clearing due to prominent Golgi apparatus and eccentrically placed nucleus. Relatively normal appearing plasma cells, plasmablast with vesicular nuclear chromatin and prominent single nucleus, nucleolus or bizarre multinucleated cells may predominate. Other cytological variants stem from the dysregulated synthesis and secretion of immunoglobulins, which often leads to intracellular accumulation of intact or partially degraded proteins. We will say it in our coming slides. Such variants include flame cells with fiery red cytoplasm, Mott cells with multiple grape-like plasmic droplets, and cell containing a variety of other inclusions including fibrils, crystalline rods, and globules. The globular inclusions they are referred to as the Russell bodies if they are present in the cytoplasm, or Dutcher bodies if they are present in the nucleus. In advanced disease, plasma cell infiltrate may be present in the spleen, liver, kidney, lungs, lymph nodes, or other soft tissues. So this is a bone marrow picture of a patient with the plasma cell. These are the plasma cell with two nucleus, and these are the cytoplasmic inclusions. These are the cytoplasmic inclusions. These are called the Russell bodies, and the cells which bear these inclusions they are called Mott cells. So this is a Mott cell, and these are Russell bodies. This is a plasma cell in which a nucleus is eccentrically placed and there is a clear perinuclear space. This is a bilobed plasma cell. All in this picture, all the cells in which the nucleus is placed to periphery or one side, it is a plasma cell, and you can see there are numerous plasma cells. This is a fire cell in which the nucleus in which the cytoplasm is fiery red, and this picture is like a flame. This picture is showing Dutcher bodies. We have seen previously the Russell bodies are present in the cytoplasm, but when the inclusions they are present in the nucleus, they are called Dutcher bodies. These are Dutcher bodies. So we have read before that for the diagnosis we need both the bone marrow examination and the radiography. The radiography is also very characteristic, in which the bone lesion they appear as punched out defects, usually 1 to 4 centimeter in diameter, and consist of soft gelatinous red tumor masses. Less commonly, widespread myelomatous bone marrow disease produce diffuse demineralization rather than focal defects. It is a skull X-ray of a patient with multiple myeloma, and these are the punched out effects, and they are usually most commonly seen in skull. Prognosis: the prognosis is variable but has improved in recent years with new therapeutic approaches. The median survival is 4 to 7 years and cure have yet to be achieved. Patient with multiple bone lesion, if untreated, they rarely survive for more than 6 to 12 months, whereas patient with smoldering myeloma, in which a patient is asymptomatic, they may survive for many years. Translocation involving cyclin D1 are associated with the good outcome, whereas deletion of 13p, 13q, deletion of 17p, and T translocation 414, they all carry aggressive course. Treatment: new therapies they are now discovered which are bringing hope. Myeloma cells, they are sensitive to inhibitors of the proteasome, which is a cellular organelle that degrades unwanted and misfolded protein. Misfolded proteins activate apoptotic pathways. Myeloma cells are prone to accumulation of misfolded unpaired immunoglobulin chains. Proteasome inhibitors may induce cell death by exacerbating this inherent tendency, and also seem to retard bone resorption through effects of stromal cells. Thalidomide and related compounds such as lenalidomide also have activity against myeloma. Interestingly, these changes may also involve a protein degradation, as lenalidomide they appear to activate ubiquitin ligases, thereby targeting proteins for proteolysis that are required for myeloma growth. Biphosphonate drugs that inhibit bone resorption, reduce pathological fracture, and limit hypercalcemia. And hematopoietic stem cell transplantation, which they prolongs life but has not yet proven to be curative. Thank you.